things. I wanted to start off with a new message for the day. And that message is quite simple. That's truly do your absolute best to recognize the fruits of what is happening in your life and see that everything that happens for a reason also has an explanation. Whenever we think about suffering and how difficult times do come in this life, we never do recognize what sometimes the things that we endure can be able to produce out of us. But I wanted to tell you something that kind of is giving me hope actively as I speak. And that's the fact that every single one of you guys have a beautiful gift and potential inside of you that is absolutely burning. Burning, it's an all consuming fire because why? Because God put it there. And I know that for a fact because of the fact that every single day of your life, you'll always live within an identity that you've picked and chosen, not particularly of your own free will in regards to what was offered to you, but you took what you took. And end result is you who you are, you know? And as the fact remaining, the fact that what you believe is, eventually what you're going to be able to be producing. It's not what comes into the mouth that defiles a person, but rather what comes out of a person. A person can only say what is stored up in their heart. And from a very young age, most of us can have corrupted views about how to live, how to interpret things, and how to really express yourself. And what I've realized, not by my own strength, but purely by the help of love, purely by the help of community, because I have this sense of trying to be a lone ranger in this walk with Jesus. But he's very clearly showing me that I cannot do this on my own, and I've been struggling to do it on my own, completely, absolutely, utterly defeated and humiliated. Humbled, my brother and sister. But the point is, yeah, what it has been revealed through many people speaking has been this, that every single time in your life that you've ever thought, oh, you have some form of traumatic event that's ever happened in your life, think back to something that happened in your early childhood or that is consistently happening that you continuously attach as a particular excuse as to why you do certain things. I say excuse because it's the reason why you could say, okay, I do it because of the fact that I went through this. So what I've realized is whenever you have a strong sense of like anxiety from a young age when you're most influenced, it shows that you have the capacity to shine brightly and speak boldly of the truth. You'll find that most people who are filled with just the most immoral jokes and stuff like that have a sense of making people laugh. They want to make people laugh, they want to bring joy, but then the medium has been corrupted in that sense. And then you'll find that most people who, are depressed have the capacity to feel joy far greater than anything imaginable because it can be able to sustain and endure through even the hardest of troubles. And that's the beautiful thing about what God does. What God does and what God has built within you does not just depend on the environment particularly. It will still shine through even the deepest of darkness. Now, what the devil does is he cannot, in fact, take away what God has put in you. You will still display what God has put in you, but you won't display it the way God intended. And that's the free will aspect of it now, that God has made it that this beautiful thing within you, whether it be art, whether it be poetry, is a creative element within you that is unique to you, that you can be able to bring it out in a way that no one else can. It's just the fact that the thing that I would attack, hypothetically speaking, if I were to be your enemy, would be the very thing that you're producing. I wouldn't stop you producing. I would make sure that what you're producing is corrupted in that sense. So instead of stopping your ability to be able to write beautiful poems, I would make sure that you see the world through a dark lens. I would make sure that you have no hope. And that's not me saying I'll make sure that you have no hope. I'm saying in the sense that that's usually what is attacked. Your sense of hope. And what I'm learning now is the fact that everything that you will ever believe in life, the most minute things about yourself, up to the big things like how you'll never make it or if you will make it, but you'll only ever make it if you do certain things. It all does depend on how you turn to God, because we can always think that our own personal one-to-one relation is pure, unique, and it's the only way. And while we can communicate with God in our hearts, what I've noticed is it's best just to ask God, hey, if there's anything that I've deceitfully, been believing and convincing myself that I'm going the right way, please show me where I can be corrected. Because, yeah, I was brought to a point where I had to pray that prayer last night because I truly did believe that I was right. And I was going along a path that seemed right, completely so in my eyes. But looking at it now, it would have just led to death. It would have just led to a very depressed state, and it would have just led to very dark elements in my life that I would not have been able to explain or get out of on my own. The worst part is I would have had shame because I would have been warned. But ignoring warnings and ignoring advice from people, yeah, it's part of a stubborn nature. But what we have to do sometimes is genuinely consult, confess, and conform to the standards that of the people that we have been introduced to in regards to like the parents we have. Like they were entrusted to us for a reason. I know it's very difficult for most people to trust their parents. It was for me too at some point. But what I do know about God is the second you actually put the trust that everything that He's doing in your life, He's doing it for a purpose, then you only start worrying about how you respond, not how other people respond. Once you do your part in regards to how you open up, I'm telling you now, He'll do everything else. And trust me, He does not fail. There's nothing that He has ever done, I'll just say from my life, and I guess yours too, where if you've put your faith in Him, and even if it's subconscious, small mustard seed of faith of, I don't believe, but I want to believe, He'll deliver 10 times out of 10. Because God wants to answer your questions more than you want to ask them. But He will not move on any standard until you actually reach out. And it's completely normal for you to feel as if you're afraid to ask certain questions from people in your life, afraid to have certain conversations. Heck, man, if you're feeling like you're going through some lustful things in your life, if you feel like you're suffering attacks that no one really knows of, that you're coping in ways that no one really understands, and you'd much rather convince yourself that you're okay because you're not being damaged at that point. You're feeling peace, but only in the darkness. Then I'm telling you now, you're being deceived in the regard that what is exposed in the light will truly be able to be corrected, but what is running rampant and thriving in the darkness will only ever deceive you because you'll never know what you're bumping into. Nor will you know where you end up. I know I'm being very vague. It's because I'm trying to be general. I don't know how or when, but I know eventually I would like to be more direct in my approach of having this conversation. It's recent for me, hours ago. So it's the fact that I'm still learning it that's making me also think, okay, perhaps I should also have that grace of saying, fine, interpret this how you will. But the main message of it all is Jesus Christ is truly the way, the truth, and the life. And He hears your prayers. God hears your prayers. And they can be said in the tiniest mustard seed of faith. They don't always have to be, I want to get, I want to get. It can always just be, please show me how to do this right. Please show me how I'm doing this wrong. Please help me to live a better life and to have better character, because that's really what matters more than anything else. It's the character that produces the result matters more than the result itself. Because if you continuously keep getting results, but the character that produces the results cannot continuously produce them, then you're just having a lot of achievements, but then nothing that can really carry over in difficult situations, because that would show that environment is based on your performance is based on your environment. A bit of a long video. I'm completely aware. Anyone who's really stayed behind at this point really did want to hear this, and so I'm happy. And I'm also glad. And God be with you. I love you, and Jesus Christ loves you too. Trust.